It's race day. Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna go for it. Boom, that's how it's done. Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Woo, it doesn't get any better than that. We wait for the lights, the revs build and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay, driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Oh no, someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right. Keep them guessing. Lawn mowing as a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go! That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. This seems like as good a time as any to ask if you've subscribed yet. There's your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win!
Welcome, race fans, back to Black Flag Racing. My name is Webbo, and very pleased to be here with you. Just tuning in right now. Just took me a moment to get myself into the server. We are in the fabulous and historic Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, and we're ready to go. This currently is our little tour of Britain prior to finishing the season out on June 21st at Spa, but we've been to Silverstone. Sadly, I couldn't make it, but we're here at Brands Hatch. Then we go north to Alton Park for our endurance series here on the fabulously newly renamed Black Flag Racing, and we're looking forward to getting underway for you. I have on my screen qualifying right now, so hopefully we will be able to give you a good view of what's going on, and hopefully this doesn't now crash on me as it does so very often. In fact, weirdly, I don't actually have any form of standings whatsoever, so that's kind of annoying. We'll just we'll ride with our drivers as we go through here, and hope that I will be able to get those standings organised for you in terms of the current track positions. Black Flag Racing is brought to you by Premier Off-Road, and obviously in association with myself here on the channel. So looking forward to all of this. I hope that you guys are all ready for a good one, yeah, we should have a good time. Welcome to Alexandra, and hopefully Gus as well, and also to Red. Let's see how the drivers are tackling this fabulous circuit. What I will do is take this opportunity while we have things organised here, just to make sure that I can load up my spectator view, because hopefully that will sort me out and we'll be able to get the dash pages going. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. So we're on board with Mojo, and we'll take you across this fantastic racetrack, of course, any moment. Let's get for you an onboard, shall we? We're currently cycling through the Graham Hill bend and onto what is called the Cooper Straight, but it's not really much of a straight. It's kind of banana shaped. In towards Surtees. This is a decreasing radius, tightening corner as we file past one of our GT4 races. I think that was Preston there, and then we go through the Pilgrim's Drop and up towards Hawthorne Hill. This is Hawthorne Corner, a track that really rewards you getting into the apex very early. In fact, much earlier than you would think. That was Westfield. We're going through Dingledale and into Sheen Curve, named after Barry Sheen, the world famous motorcycle racer. This is Stirling's. Big dip into Stirling's. You want to drop right down to second gear, and then as we approach Clearways and in towards Clark Curve, that is the end of a qualifying lap here, as we then cross the start-finish line. Very little in the way of relaxing straights here. Turn out wide for a late turn in. Need to try and get some rotation on the car, steal a little bit of apex through Paddock Hill, and try not to get spat out into the gravel trap at the bottom of the hill. Then you go into a very slow corner. We're just passing Larry there, I think, on the left, and that was Druid's Corner, before you're back into the meat of Graham Hill Bend. You can often ride just onto the curb on the outside there. It does seem like ACC is somewhat strict on the ability to turn and go through there. This is Bobcat Goalie. We've got a much bigger field for you now that we have merged and become a bigger, healthier league here at Black Flag. So we're looking forward to seeing some new faces, some new drivers, and potentially even some new cars. What are we driving here? It's a Porsche. It's a high-screaming Porsche, high-note screaming Porsche of Bobcat Goalie. This is the GT3. What a great camera angle that was for a moment as we run through. Then we find Larry, also a Porsche driver here at Black Flag, with the red line and the black and the matte black finish. I'm not sure I've actually seen Gus's reviews of people's liveries here. Of course, we don't get quite the same level of fantastic livery options within ACC on console anyway. We make do as best as we can. Of course, it's a fantastic fantastic system here on ACC. It's tremendously punishing. We have just 2.5 minutes left to go of qualifying. Looks like Dog Eater is the fastest, and he's in a Ford. Let's try and find him for a moment, as Hyper Honda is doing what he used to do in Deviant, and that is not driving a Honda, which annoys the hell out of me, I have to say. In the BMW of Priest, then, he's running 7th, as we look for Siam, running in 14th in the GT4 class. You can tell the GT4 by the blue triangle in the lower right corner of their driver number. That's driver number 78. This is Preston, also in GT4, usually runs at the head of the field in GT4, and currently is doing exactly that. First of the 3 drivers in GT4. Here is Dog Eater then, driving the Ford. This is the Mustang, and he is clearly clearing away quicker at this current time then. Just trying to make sure I can get everything I want, but no, I simply can't change the dash screen, which is tremendously annoying for me as a broadcaster. I'll try and figure it out and get something a little bit better. But this, then, you can see the top left of screen flashing green and red is the driver's delta to their own fastest. Of course, this is Dog Eater with the fastest time. I don't know whether to call him Dog, as he makes light work of one of our bollards there on the circuit. Dog Eater has managed to set a 124.262. I don't know his fuel levels at the moment, but I imagine they'll be running very, very low with 50 seconds to go. He's managed to do 8 laps during this qualifying period, and then running down in towards the Paddock Hill bend. We go once again. Excuse me. No, that was Clearways, wasn't it? Let's keep going then. It's the 143 Mustang as we go through Dingledale. Tremendous elevation change here. This is the it's the town of Forkham, spelt F-A-W-K-H-A-M, for those of you who don't know. But as Red says, it's the same way when he doesn't drive red cars. Yeah, definitely. It's the same vibe for sure. This is M4 Raider. I'll call him Raider, I think, even though he's not driving a BMW M4. He's driving a McLaren, which I guess you can get away with. He's 10th at the moment in this qualifying period, as we get ready for a 1-hour endurance here. I'm sure that that foul weather is never too far away. I'm loving the classic Mazda racing colours of RPH there in the background. Larry has managed a 3rd place, 125.1. That is significantly quicker than I've managed to go. My stream just prior to this one, as we find the Porsche GT4 crossing the line of Chaotica, he goes 2nd in class, stays 2nd in class, I think, with the best time of 134 point something or other. Hyper Honda in the Ferrari. He's finished, I think. He's finished his lap, no longer rushing and stressing on a lap. Just trying to find you a driver actually pointing the car in anger. This is the unique Alpine driven by Preston, or Edward Ned here. So it's Dog Eater who takes the pole position ahead of Mojo Schnut. Mojo. Larry in 3rd place, a 2nd away from Dog Eater. Then comes Nate and Irish Arazi, or Iri Sharazi. I'm going to go with Irish Arazi, with Camzilla in 6th. Priest in 7th. New Crap in 8th, and Hyper Honda. M4 Raider in 10th, Bobcat Goalie in 11th, and then the first of our GT4 drivers, some 9 seconds off the pace, 9 or 10 seconds off the ultimate pace. Ned ahead of Chaotica, ahead of Siam. Now, I will happily take your nominations for what New Crap should be called on stream, because that is a tremendously difficult gamer tag to read out, as the drivers get ready then for the hour's racing. Qualifying not massively important here, because we go racing for an entire hour. 1 mandatory pit stop. We are looking like we have reasonably good weather for the next 7 minutes of the race anyway. Difficult to say beyond that, thanks to our difficult procedure here for our graphics as we get ready then for the racing. You can see the 1 next to the driver's name is indicative of how many pit stops they have to make, but that will not become available until later in the race, when you will see you will see that become the pit stop window will open 1/3 distance into the race. It will close at 2/3 distance into the race. Then, of course, it's within that period the drivers have to make their stop. 1 hour around the tremendous Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit awaits, and we get underway. The drivers will be preparing then for racing. You can see the orange and green Mazda colours, Aston Martin Racing Vantage, as it looks like we've got our a Vantage in second. We've got the Mustang in first place. Dog Eater ahead of Mojo's Nut from Larry and Nate. Irish Razzie. Now, Irish Razzie, it looks like he's not racing on PlayStation, so I'm guessing he's an Xboxer, perhaps. But it looks like a whole lap we're going to go for to make sure that our drivers get their tyres up to temperature. I don't have a tyre readout for the drivers here, but they obviously can see their brake and tyre temperatures at all times. They have to make sure that they've selected the correct brake pads, believe it or not, for the racing. And we look forward to that. If you are watching with us live and you haven't said hello and you fancy a shout out or want to let me know who you're here to cheer on, please speak up. We love to make you part of the broadcast when you've taken the time out of your day to join us here at Black Flag Racing, brought to you by Premier Off-Road. Drivers just now, they've been told to go single file, then they will be told, you'll hear the engineer as he features in my ear as well. He tells the drivers to go double file, and we have a traditional GT3 GT racing double file start, and the drivers have to stick to their lane and head on through. Jose is cheering on Moj, and no crap. I still need a good name to call them that through here, but that's a very difficult name for me to enjoy and know what to say. I'm liking what I see in terms of Mojo. He's got TC down at 2, which is pretty cool, I have to say. So I had a theory about the strange selection here of what chooses our race numbers, what chooses the camera that we are opting for, and it's just been completely misproven. ACC randomly chooses which driver they want me to view when I press up and down, and here we go. Fantastic racing ready for you. 15 drivers will take on Brands Hatch for the penultimate round in our British tour of fabulous racing tracks. Then we go to a season finale at Spa, but for now we get ready for the green flag. Dog Eater in front ahead of Mojo, Larry, Nate and Irish Razzie, with Priest in 6th place. The green flag flies and it's dropped the clutch and go, and immediately Dog Eater is well into the lead. That's a spin for car 26. That's Irish Razzie spinning round. So Mojo chasing down Larry, settling into 3rd position at the moment. Irish Razzie though back at the back of the grid, having spun out through the famous Paddock Hill bend. It's a really difficult corner, especially on cold tyres. And there are your lead 3. Mojo ahead of Larry, ahead of Nate, as they run through the order. Still side by side here. Here is Irish Razzie trying to get past the GT4s early on. Gets past his manufacturer mate of Siam in the background. Siam has gone for, of course, the GT4, and here are all 3 GT4 cars plus Irish Razzie as he runs through. Bobcat Goalie in 10th place in the white and red Porsche. We've got a driver very wide there in the McLaren, running back in the order. That's M4 Raider, who just lost out through that exchange, running through the Westfield corner and now down through Dingledale and into Sheen Curve. Very, very difficult corner, Sheen Curve. Be really careful with track limits here on ACC. This is Larry chasing the lead duo of Dog Eater and Mojo, with Nate right behind him. These four, the fastest drivers we have here in ACC, and they will absolutely do battle. Now, can Larry steer clear of track limit abuse? I think you're okay on the curb on the exit of Paddock Hill down there. There's a BMW behind Nate's McLaren, but the gap is opening out to 3.4 seconds, the gap between 4th and 5th, and actually it's looking like Larry is chasing down Mojo here. Having a look on the approach in towards Surtees corner. It's a brave one to get the move done into here. You really want to steal that apex very late if you can. You get the power down, and then we run down Pilgrim's Drop and back up Hawthorne Hill. And behind him, you've got Nate just getting gapped a little bit, treating the car very gently at this stage. Mojo running wide. That opens the door for Larry. Dare he go for it? Well, it was a brave one, and it's now Mojo off the circuit as Larry goes for the inside. He was patient, waited for his opportunity. Steal the apex if you can, and through goes Larry. This is Chaotica down in the GT3, GT4 division, and all three of them are nose to tail, which is exactly what you want to see. Although I would like to see a bigger a larger amount of cars in the GT4 field. We've got some very busy section of the racetrack right now, as Nu in the Ferrari in P11 was wide there. He's got only, I should say, the GT4s behind him at the back here. Although car number 143, I think, had to pit. I think that's Dog Eater. So he is the rearmost of the GT3 drivers here. Nu Crap with Irish Razzie in front of him. They're in the, I'm guessing, the Irish colours of orange, green and white in the number 26 Aston Martin Vantage. This is Hyper Honda in P7 for the Scuderia Ferrari with the tricolore on the back quarter. Nice colour scheme from him. This, unfortunately, is Chaotica going for a little spin out onto the grass. That is the difficult Graham Hill bend, and getting the car turned around fast, but dropping to the very back of our grid at this point, unfortunately for him. Let's keep moving then as we go back up to second place. This is the battle then at the head of the field. This is Larry in second, defending now. Well, I would say Larry in second. Unfortunately, no, he's dropped back behind Mojo. He's in third, and we've got Nate having caught him. So Larry presumably having a slower lap that time. His previous lap was a 1:26.1. This one's going to be a fair distance slower as he crosses the line. It will update momentarily. It was a 1:26.8, so it wasn't that big a deal as they run down Paddock Hill Bend, one of the greatest corners in World Motorsport, Paddock Hill Bend. And through they go. Alexandra was celebrating, I think, Larry's trip up to second place, but unfortunately it was short-lived as Larry versus Nate continues the 77 against the 189 McLaren in the well, decreasingly white car. He did start in a very white dominated car. Let's ride with him, shall we, with Larry in the passenger seat. And looking through that clear visor of Larry. Alcantara dash finish here on the Porsche. Over those famous and very narrow curbings here at Brands Hatch. And that squeal you hear is the brakes that are often indicating to the drivers they're not up to temperature if they're squealing, or they have worn completely through. And then the drivers have to consider a brake change at the pit stops. Larry going quicker on this lap though, unlocking something in the car and finding a 1 second improvement to this point on the lap. Hugged that pit wall momentarily before going back out wide for the widest run through the next corner. 1:25.0 is Larry's previous lap, which obviously lowers the bar from what he had before. We've got Bobcat Goalie then. Currently running in 9th place. I think again another Xboxer. I don't think we can actually compete with PC drivers here on ACC Console Edition. So I think the world symbol means an Xbox driver. Behind him, M4 Raider at this time in the 720, but another one of our Porsche drivers. Following now Irish Arazi, who was at the back of the grid and is unlocking some great pace at this stage. Here is Larry again. Let's run and have a look. How far back is Chaotica? He has got a 10-second deficit to Siam, who himself has a further couple of seconds deficit to Ned there, or Preston, as many of you know him. Not quite sure what we're trying to track with that particular camera angle. As Hyphy Honda in 7th as the Aston Martin behind him. Here is new. I know we've got at least one viewer here specifically for the 969 in the azuri blue Ferrari with the alternate additional lights on the car. He's running in 11th place. As we have a look at Camzilla, then one of our season winners so far. I think the Nürburgring was Cam's fabulous victory. We have no Viciously Vic anymore, so there is something of an open goal at the top of the championship. I wasn't able to bring you championship standings, unfortunately. I understand that our great T Deeds, or Timid Umbrian, has not been particularly well, so we send him our best wishes if he's watching. And part of the reason I've not been able to bring you the replay of the Silverstone race is because we've been struggling to connect there. So best wishes to Timid Umbrian, as Dog Eater leads the race by 4.6 seconds in the Mustang. First time we've seen the Mustang really here at Black Flag Racing, and under our former name as well. And it certainly seems to be a very quick car under the hands of Dog Eater, another one of our PlayStation pilots. He's got a 24.3. That is the fastest lap. That was the previous lap as well. And he underperforms by half a second on his lap 6. No pit stop windows open just yet. There is M4 Raider. Gap opening in front to Irish Arazi in 8th to 4.4 seconds here, who's just put in a 25.3. That's a very quick time for someone mired in the midfield. M4 Raiders gap to Bobcat Goalie behind, who just put in a 4-second slower lap. I think that was 3.1 seconds back to Bobcat Goalie. Let's join Nate, who has allowed Larry to slip away here. On board with Larry. I can't hang out on this particular camera angle for very long because I know that the audio very much competes with voice, unless I were to go ahead and turn it down each time. It's a little bit better in this angle, I believe. Back and then across the dashboard. This is a good angle as well. Across the rear wing. Perhaps we'll follow him on chase cam. He's running a TC5. All the different cars have different levels, number of their traction control. So one driver's 5 is not necessarily equal to another driver's 5. He's got great rotation into paddock hill, just couldn't quite commit all the way to the apex, and unfortunately just grabbed a little bit too much minimum speed there at the apex and lost out. Here we have Mojo. He's running 4.6 seconds slower at the moment than Dog Eater. Goes quite wide coming through Surtees corner. And then the longest straightaway here, down Pilgrim's Drop. And then you've got to be pretty careful, pretty accurate, heading into Hawthorns. You can grab lots of apex through these corners. There's a classic example. And he puts almost all 4 wheels over the white line on the inside. It's better to grab more apex here at Brands Hatch, just like that. Fantastic. Because the exits are so narrow and so low grip. Through the the left-hander of Sterling's. Very few left-handers, of course, here on a clockwise circuit, and then you've got the fast entry clearways. You can stamp on the throttle because the corner is banked to the inside. It naturally brings the car close to the pit wall. Then you want to take it wide, as Mojo is doing right now, and try and hook up to that apex again. And he is running in that second position, 4.7 seconds the gap to to Chaotica in front, 5.4 actually to Dog Eater, who has now put a lap on the GT4s after just 8 laps. That's ferocious pace difference here. And now we're really into it here, and we've got we're on board with Ira Shirazi trying to find a good way through, but he's a little bit boxed in his options here. All the way down to first gear for Druids around the hairpin. He kind of relying on forcing an error from the car in front. The bollard has survived to this point in Graham Hill Bend. Have a look down the inside, but it's such late braking in here, and it takes you so long to get down to the right speed that it's quite tricky to make an overtake work. Cut back, yes, potentially. He's actually dipping out of the slipstream, making his intentions known here. Oh, very close. You've got to be so careful and accurate through Hawthorns. At the moment, looks like Hyper Honda is hanging on through the next right-hander. So many just slightly different right-hand bends here, and we got the opportunity to go on the overlap round the outside, and wow, that was mighty close from Ira Shirazi, but he managed to get through. So great racing from him, and on board then as we now go hunting for P7. That's M4 Raider up ahead of Ira Shirazi here on board with the Aston Martin driver, putting over the apex. And then once again, we see this very often with our drivers, is they finally get clear of a rival they've been trying to overtake, and then unfortunately a miscalculation in the following corners. Now you've got some interesting racing developing. This is Bobcat Goalie for 10th, behind Hyper Honda, who's just been passed. He goes very wide out of Graham Hill, and unfortunately lets through the Ferrari driver No Crap. And then you can see them coming through here. No Crap is in P10, but has a view here to getting hold of P9. Larry's about to lap Siam, as he's just missed out on making that lap count. Very different. I mean, the Aston Martin looks like a GT3 racer. It's large enough, but it is a GT4. Down the inside we go with Larry, and that's a lapped lap GT4 car on lap 10. Here is Chaotica, a long way back from his colleagues in GT4, unfortunately. Just needs to keep it clean now for the remainder of the race. I think he just lost it on his own earlier on. And we've got Hyper Honda in front of his Ferrari stablemate. They're both looking a little bit bashed up and worse for wear here, the two Ferraris, the 21 and the 969. When we get close up, you can see just how scarred and dented the Ferrari truly is. Also got a lot of marble outlay off the tyre, some detritus from the heavily used tyres on the exit of Druids corner into Graham Hill Bend, and the bollard goes begging, and that spits him out onto the outside exit. Needs to be careful not to gain any advantage going through there. Got a wide entry, and I think just chasing the grip on the car at the moment here. His rival behind, No Crap, is racing hard, charging hard, and putting the pressure on. Looks to have a slightly better race car underneath him at this stage of the race. 44 minutes remain, so we're about 4 minutes out from the pit stop window being open for the one mandatory pit stop here, as our tremendous ACC drivers continue. This is on board. This is, well, not on board, but this is chase cam of No Crap, the 969. We look for that opening, look for that window. cars should be pretty equal here, minus any setup differences between the two. Looking for the outside to inside move. No one would dare to go all the way around the outside of Paddock Hill. Didn't quite hook up the apex. Then you want the run on the way down into Druid. You can brake very, very late when you're on the inside here, but again, trying to avoid contact because ACC is so strict with any kind of contact, unless of course you're playing against the AI, in which case it is open season, as you'll see in my career videos. Look out for that to come. I'm doing a career on PSVR 2, and then we've got a big problem there. That's Camzilla in the BMW, who's just been off, drops 2 places, and both Ferraris almost collide, but Nurkrat managed to make his way through, being the second on the scene and finding a great opportunity to slip on through past Camzilla there, who's got a lot of work to do. Again, in P10, some long distance behind the podium fight here, but perhaps Brands Hatch not suiting the BMW, or maybe it's just lack of practice time for the number 20. When it's good, it's really good with Camzilla. Unfortunately today, so far, hasn't been one of those days. Here is Priest in the pink and blue Aston Martin BMW, running P5, so it's not all doom and gloom for the Beamers. Usually a pretty good car to race with. Pretty good all-rounder. And Priest heads on through Graham Hill, heads up towards Stirling's. Sorry, Surtees. Read my track map correctly. And out of Surtees, down Pilgrim's Drop. Little flash of the lights here. He's closing in on Siam to put a lap on him, so he's keen that Siam sees him, as it were. Shouldn't be a difficult situation for the GT3 to pass, although I feel like Siam ought to probably have let him through a little bit earlier, and blocks him again. But the main instruction usually to lower class drivers, lower class of vehicle that is, of course, is that they stay on the racing line and stay predictable. Down this little straightaway then in towards Clearway should be the golden opportunity for the GT3 to get through with Priest, and does so. There is Siam, and class leader Preston in the Alpine, the very quiet Alpine. Should we see what it's like on board? Is it equally quiet in the Alpine? Oh, it just looks horribly cheap, doesn't it, on board this Alpine? He absolutely loves this car, but I think he's the only one. He really gets something out of being in the Alpine. What's great is the Alpine car names start with an A, which is how we name our kind of our second fastest roads here in the UK. So often you get I think this is the A119, and you get a British road version of the car name, which is great. Here is the 143 then. This is Dog Eater, whose gap at the front has opened out to 8.9 seconds. The pit window is open for the mandatory stop. The fastest lap was a 1:24.3. He's still operating near to that time, a 24.7. Just to put it in context, I was running on low fuel in practice on a 28.3. I did about, I don't know, 30 minutes running today in Brands Hatch. So mere mortals can be some 4 seconds a lap slower. Thanks, Red, for stopping by. It was great to have you and get that homework done fast. There's plenty of sim racing to enjoy. This, of course, the first race of the weekend for me. Tomorrow I am in the cockpit at 5 p.m. UK time. That's going to be Sunday the 25th, 5 p.m. And then 6:30 p.m. for our blue ribboned SVR event, the S1 division on the SVR Racing channel. M4 Raider in 7th position. He's about to catch Preston. Edward Nedlow there in the McLaren is M4 Raider. Nate is running in 4th position. He has a gap in front to Larry of 11.8 seconds. So far, it seems Larry has managed to avoid picking up those track limit penalties that absolutely plagued him at Paul Ricard. This is Mojo in the 2nd position. I think he's just lapped someone in his own class of car. He's just lapped the Ferrari driver. No crap. And he's 10 seconds away. So obviously Dog Eater had already lapped P9 on the grid. Whether he will manage to get all the way up to P4 or not has to be the open challenge. No Crap though has made his pit stop. You can see next to his 969 his indicator has turned green, so, and the number 1 has disappeared, so he's all set. This is Irish Arazi up to 5th place, and with great pace, a 25.3 his best, 26.9 his last time, and doing whatever possible then to get back in terms with the battle in front of him. He's about to put a lap on Bobcat Goalie, and then he will find a further 16 seconds up the road. He might be trying to catch Nate there, who's got 4th place on the road at the moment. But your standings right now on the podium: Dog Eater, Mojo and Larry. So running through in P5, Irish Razzie. Let's join him on board then. You can see the video mirror on your lower right. So same class of vehicle. Oh, and we're heading, oh, I thought we were headed towards the pit lane there. Got a little bit wide coming through the corner. His traction control only on 2 of 8 in the Aston Martin. So clearly got a really good grasp of throttle application. He's got double stage traction control, TC1 and TC2 here, running 64% brake balance and a 4 out of 11 score on his ABS usage. Brakes still whining somewhat. Here you hear them. Very typical of ACC and GT racing in general. But running in 5th at the moment and catching Nate hand over fist. That was something like a 2.5 second gain over the previous lap here. Irish Arazi has got tremendous pace. Can he get his way back to fight for the podium? Currently held by Larry, Mojo and by Dog Eater, of course. Plenty still to do as Bobcat Goalie allows Priest through with the blue flag. Here is Larry in 3rd place. He hasn't let Mojo get too far away. 35 minutes to go. 15 left on the clock for the pit stop window. And Larry trying to get a good angle through Surtees. Left the apex begging for some quite considerable distance. We'll be looking forward to a new set of tyres, I think, and maybe a bit of fuel on the car as well. Drivers can select how much fuel they run. So the more they put in at the start, the less they will have to refill with, but the more weight they carry. So tends to work best to run about half of what you need for the race to about half distance, pit, and set yourself back on. So you've got a good idea of what your fuel demands are going to be. Alexandra is cheering on Larry here because he's made it onto screen. My apologies, Alexandra, for ignoring him to this step. Here we have him on board with Larry. Let's maybe, well, this is inside the helmet of Larry. It's a little bit intimate, isn't it? I want to get this camera angle. This is the one I like on the internal shot here, because we can pretend like we're a co-driver in rallying. Coming up on Chaotica there, very similar colour scheme, Larry and Chaotica. but different makes of car, well, different categories of car, I should say. Black and the red of Team Porsche. So down Pilgrim's Drop and into Hawthorne Hill. Nice one. Great apex there. And then straight through, because Chaotica did lift as he saw him go through. I'm pressurizing. Appreciate that, Alexandra. Thank you. Great to have everybody here on this newly expanded Black Flag Racing League on the Endurance Championship. This is the really, really tough endurance on ACC. And Larry running 6 seconds behind, well, Priest on track, but I think behind Mojo, yeah, just on 7 seconds behind Mojo right now. There's Chaotica, and we go to see Hyphy Honda, who's just passed Preston, leading the GT4 in the Alpine once again. Preston just taking class win after class win, and often beating GT3 cars who are less consistent and have their issues on track. Charlie is watching on. Hi Charlie, I remember you, Charlie, from one of your birthday liveries in GT7 when I think Larry put Barbie on the car for you for your birthday. Appreciate the compliment as well. Tune in more often, please, Charlie. Great to hear from you. Love to hear your favourite livery or favourite car that you've seen on track today. As I obviously want to know from Gus as well, who he likes. The Azzurri Blue, not the Del Blue, HP Blue of Ferrari, but I think more of an Azzurri Blue here for the Ferrari driver 969 in P8. It's all very plain. But one of the traditional Ferrari colours, actually. The Ferrari team used to race in the US under a sort of baby light blue colour like this, because of a licensing deal with the red colour being prohibited. This was back in the 1960s and 50s in Formula One. So it's not the strangest thing in the world to see a blue Ferrari, although seeing a big blue circle on an otherwise red car is not necessarily the best choice of taste. We've got the red, white and blue of Camzilla, as in front of him Priest is kicking out all manner of dirt and dust, and that is problematic for Camzilla, to say the least. Here he is on board with him, as he'll probably have to get those windscreen wipers on, or at least during the pit stop get his team to wipe that windshield down. Charlie likes the blue, and Gus likes Larry's livery. Gus is always very loyal to Larry's liveries, I have to say. I wish my kids were that bothered about my stuff. They tend to pick whatever is different to what I like or am doing. That is Mojo, who I think has just made his pit stop. He comes out of the pits in P6. As Camzilla in P7 still hasn't made his pit stop, so that's got to be slightly depressing for Cam. Behind him is Bobcat Goalie on the track, but not in contention. So P7 has lapped P10. It's a big pace differential at this stage, but of course it is far from over. There is plenty of racing to go. I'd love to know if Gus likes my special liveries that I'm running on a Sunday in the races I take part in. We've just changed to doing our night race special liveries, and we are running chrome, black and red, which looks like an old McLaren as well. And under the lights, those cars look particularly good, I have to say. Here comes M4 Raider into the pits in the McLaren, getting the anchors on, stopping down to 50 miles an hour, 50k PH? Yeah, 50k, because that's 31 miles an hour with the pit stop. Pit limiter on. I think that's Camzilla and the BMW coming in behind. I'm going to check out our liveries, thank you very much, that's awesome. and overshooting his box slightly. So the game just reversing him. In comes Camzilla in front of him, and we'll go back to race cars going fast. And here is Nate in the McLaren running in P2. And when I'm racing, I can hear the chat, even though I'm racing in VR. So if you do stop by tomorrow, a little bit earlier than this time tomorrow, then cheer me on, and I'll be able to hear you in my ear, and I can often respond while I'm driving as well, as long as I don't end up crashing. Nate is running out of tyres a little bit, going through clearways and across the start-finish straight. So he has several cars between himself and Larry at this point. You've got Nurkrap in front, just Siam passing Siam in the GT4 division, and currently in P1, and I'm sure this will cheer up his supporters. Here is Larry running in the lead of the race at the moment. Now, he hasn't made his pit stop, so don't get too excited, but you can have a big celebration at home that Larry is at the front of the grid at the moment. Of course, things can still go wrong for the drivers who have made their pit stops. Looks like Preston has picked up a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds stationary. That's really strict, so I wonder what he did to deserve that. As Preston, I think he's in the pits at the moment possibly, but yeah, stop-go penalty for Preston. That may well put him to the back of the grid. Into the pits then comes Larry. So he's been able to get all the way through to the 34th minute of running. Dad's in first, said the kids, which is great. Chaotica in 12th comes out of the pits. So he comes out in front of Preston. Now, Preston didn't get a stop-go for a pit stop infraction because he hasn't made one yet. So he still needs to pit. You can pick up a stop-go penalty or a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane, as we've seen our drivers do earlier in the season. Oh, my apologies for those appalling textures on the track for that. And Hyper Honda, who I'm assuming is the same driver as Hyphy Honda that we used to see in Deviant GT7 racing. That's Priest off the circuit again. He does like making everybody's life difficult with kicking up dirt in their faces. At the moment, here is Nurkrap in P6, but he's just been lapped by Nate, who's currently leading the race. Nate in the McLaren. Not a big surprise to me to see the McLaren running longer into the race. Tends to be a little bit more fuel economic. So he has only 5 minutes left, has Nate, to make his pit stop. Still to pit, Preston, or Edward Nedlow, you can see there in P13, car number 5. He has a stop-go penalty as well. He has got a big challenge on his hand then to finish the race. Now, there's a popped bonnet on Priest's car. If you look really closely when the car is approaching, you can see the bonnet is actually up in the air. You can see that big shutline gap above the main grille. That could flip open and cover his windshield before he gets a chance to pit. Unfortunately for him, he has already pitted, so there is damage on the car. He'll see how much of a problem that causes him, how much time he starts to lose as a result of that damage, and then make a determination as to whether it's worth pitting to get that damage repaired. But the pink and blue number 74 of Priest. Now you see, I think that that if Charlie is still watching, and I mean this in no way because she's a girl, but because of the colours that Larry chose for her birthday, I think that she'd probably quite like this one as well, the white, pink and navy blue of Priest. Here is Not Siam in the 78, and I do like this Mustang of Dog Eater in the dark green. That's a British racing green colour, even though he's racing a Ford Mustang. Got a sort of gold tail on it as well. It's kind of Australian green and gold colours, sporting colours anyway. Into the pits finally comes Preston, but is this for the stop-go penalty or is this for the pit stop? I imagine this is for the official pit stop because he only has 3 minutes and 48 left to go. He'll get something paid off there. Either the mandatory pit stop or the all-important stop-go penalty, as we ride just behind Dog Eater. Still putting in the fast laps. That's a 1:25.1 on his previous lap. He has made his pit stop. Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie. You're over pink now. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Excellent. Big brake whine of the 143 here. Great metallic colours on the back as well. And the fastest car in qualifying, fastest car in the race. The more things change in terms of losing Viciously Vic, the more things stay the same. We've got a dominant race leader, Dog Eater. Just checking, I can't see any weather indication, unfortunately, on my map, on my display. Looks like it's going to remain a sunny day, certainly for the next while anyway. Here in the forest outfield of the Brands Hatch circuit, down in the southeast of England, down past London, in the county of Kent. Famous for the town of Dover, the White Cliffs of Dover, Kent. But this is the town of Forcombe, where the Brands Hatch circuit is. Couldn't be much further away for me as a travelling race fan and track commentator. So I've never made the trip myself. Have commentated in Kent, but it was a karting track, not the famous Brands Hatch. But all the racing drivers I know absolutely love going to this circuit because of the roller coaster nature of the elevation change that we get here. Checking out M4 Raider, who I would like to see transfer into a BMW M4 for obvious reasons. Don't think that is a reference to the Raiders NFL team. For the McLaren driver here. Beautiful raspy exhaust note on the McLaren, and it's McLaren versus Ferrari then. I would love to see those dashboard displays working fully for the drivers, to actually see what their tyre temperatures are doing. You can do that on PC. You can set up a kind of dashboard, running wide though, unfortunately. Yeah, you can set up a digital display on your dashboard that will actually tell you your tyres and your temperatures and everything. It's pretty good in terms of speed, in terms of lap time deltas, but if it just told you the tyre temperatures and pressures, that would be what you need on board. You could go full immersion. So he got very close, M4 Raider, to the Ferrari of no crap. This is a genuine battle for P6, but behind them looms the dark horse of the Ford Mustang to put, I think, a lap on P6 and P7. So slow through Graham Hill Bend for the Ferrari. The McLaren tucking up underneath, and then he'll try and arrest the car in towards the Surtees corner, and by the time he gets out onto Pilgrim's Drop Straight and Hawthorns Hill, he is ahead into P6. But Dog Eater closing in from the back, only 1.7 seconds behind. Beautiful flame effects out of those twin tailpipes on the back of the McLaren, and running out fairly wide goes Dog Eater, even as well as New Crap in the Ferrari, but looking good out there. Nate is 5th position after the pit stop, and he's running in the McLaren, so extracting a lot more out of the McLaren than M4 Raider today. I think the lead McLaren driver. This is Mojo. He is 20 seconds in front of Larry, who's currently still on the podium in P3. And we've got Dog Eater out there. But don't forget, in terms of penalties, there's still plenty of time for drivers to make mistakes and get those penalties. Irish Arazi has made it to P4. That is remarkable given what happened on lap 1 for him. And there you see Priest, and just behind, in between the two cars, you can see Nate in the McLaren then. So Irish Arazi has caught and passed Nate. Nate is one of our quickest drivers, one of the most common drivers in the top 10. And Irish Arazi, clearly with tremendous pace. His best, a 25.3. Not the last lap, that was a 27.4. But he's extracting a lot out of the Aston Martin. Mojo as well, of course, in the yellow Aston Martin, chasing him down, doing a great job in the Aston. But now he's got, 18 minutes to catch Larry, 22 seconds up the road. Is it possible? Only time will tell. But the pace that Irish Arazi has managed to get out of the car would suggest it might be under threat here unless Larry can find some extra pace. Here he is, Larry, in the black and red Porsche, just behind the black and red Porsche of the GT4 driver Chaotica. They find each other on track once again. Larry has a gap to Mojo of 20 seconds, a gap behind of 23 seconds to Irish Arazi. There is Chaotica once again. And Larry getting past, very neat and tidy. All the drivers in a live radio situation with each other so they can communicate. They tend to keep it quite quiet unless there is an important thing to communicate to each other. Very difficult to know, of course, when you're endurance racing, whether the car behind you, especially if you've got two black and red Porsches, for example, in different categories, whether they are going to be a threat to you or not. We see Hyphy Honda driving the Ferrari, and his stablemate, no crap, in the 969, Charlie's favourite in the light blue. Although it's not in great condition at the moment, Charlie, I'm afraid. He's scratched it up quite a lot. Do quite like that M4 Raider black, orange and blue McLaren. Here's Priest in P10 with the popped hood, almost. Mangled, but he's decided not to pit again. Where is, well, I tell you something. Preston's in trouble here. Preston's in trouble because he served his stop-go penalty in the pit stop window and he still has his mandatory pit stop to take. He's down in 13th position of the 14 outright. He is third in class and he hasn't taken his mandatory pit stop. He hasn't changed tyres or refueled as far as I can tell, because when we saw him go into the pits, that was to do his stop-go penalty, and I imagine that ACC required him to do that before he could stop. Now, he hasn't been in since to take his mandatory stop, or he has and he's refueled, but of course it didn't count, so he's got a further penalty to pay at the end of the race for Preston. He has won nearly every race to this point for GT4, but I think it's going to be a very different story today, unfortunately, for Edward, who still has not made his mandatory pit stop in the pit window. That sounded for a moment like Dog Eater was getting a little bit loose as M4 Raider has pitted. Now, that's out of against plan, essentially. M4 Raider in the pits in P10. Let's come back out of the pits now. There's Dog Eater in P1 in the 143. Has 1/4 of the race distance left to run, and we do look like we are going to have that very rare thing of an endurance race in Great Britain without any rain. It's M4 Raider then, having just made that pit stop, comes out in 10th position, unfortunately for him. Nate hanging on to 5th, but Irish Arazi has already gained 9 seconds on Nate since making the pass a couple of laps ago. Here is Mojo, 2nd place in the 957, making Larry's job a little bit easier of catching, but Larry is losing time at the moment on average to Mojo, who has a 1:24.790, fastest time on his previous lap here. Irish Arazi, I can't quite see his gap to Larry, but I think it still says more than 20 seconds. We'll see perhaps when he's past Chaotica. Larry is the next one just off the display here. So even if I cut to Larry, we won't be able to see this very important gap here for the podium. 13.5 minutes remaining before the checkered flag goes out. Irish Arazi has something like a 20 second gap to Larry to catch here. We'll watch Irish Razzie while he passes Chaotica, because then we will get that important piece of information. Looking back into the eyes across the back wing and the roll cage, very sophisticated roll cage here. Then you can see some of the dust and insect pickup. We're looking for that chance past Chaotica. Doesn't really allow Irish Razzie past. But thankfully he makes it through now. So the gap to Larry is 29 seconds. So Irish Razzie, I think, must have gone off the circuit at some point, or Larry's found an amazing shortcut. Because I was expecting that gap to be shrinking, not growing to the extent that it has done. 29 seconds, hopefully for Larry, means that podium is safe today. P7 for Bobcat goalie. I don't know what the red number next to his name indicates, but he's got the red 202 of a race number. Pretty cool race number, if you ask me. We haven't ridden with Bobcat goalie. Let's see his choice of helmet, shall we? Oh, very nice. It matches his car, so fantastic to see there for him. He's in the Porsche. Great visuals here as we look out over the dash. Again, on board the Porsche. Bobcat goalie, P7. And being caught by Irish Arazi 5 seconds further back. Here is crowd favourite Larry, our Aussie racer. Couldn't find a Holden or a Commodore to race here in ACC. Pretty sure he would have done if we had one. We do need V8 supercars in ACC, for my money anyway. Larry looking pretty smooth here in Brands Hatch today. I don't want to curse him. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, local time here at the track. So the sun will be up for some time here during the summer. Shadows are lengthening. The track temperatures will be cooling a little bit by now. And Larry certainly doing enough at this stage. 25 seconds the gap to Irish Arazi. So that has come down by 4 seconds within 2 laps. So at that rate it would be concerning, you have to say. Chaotica P12, but second in class in the GT4s. They look so small and kind of toy-like, the GT4s, in comparison to our GT3s, don't they? And it's got to be a nervous race when you've got so many GT3 colleagues. I'd love to know more about why the drivers choose the GT4 over the GT3. Pleasure of driving. Do they like a smaller field to compete against? They like being overtaken all the time. It's Hyper Honda then in P7 for Ferrari. And I think that might be Priest just behind him. 2 seconds, a gap between the two. Quite possibly our closest gap here, and it's going to get closer if Hyper Honda goes around the outside like that too often. Dog Eater is catching them as well. It's 32nd lap, just finishing here for Hyper Honda with 9 minutes to go on the racetrack. Just want to catch, this is Priest. He's also pretty close to Hyper Honda then. 1.6 seconds now. There behind them. Looks to be P9. So P7 to P9, still very much on the battle between the 3 rivals here. More challenging to drive the GT4, says Jim. Smaller brakes, you can't just power out of turns, you have to carry speed or you're standing still. Very interesting, Jim. I thought the GT4s would be easier to drive. I haven't tried it myself. Only the GT3 and pretty much only the Lexus and the Jaguar so far in ACC. I tend to stick with what I know. I need to try all the cars really, don't I? That should be a challenge for me to do. Not saying that GT3s are easy, but easier perhaps, says Jim. Well, nice of you to pipe up there, Jim. I didn't realise you were watching, so it's great to have you here, as usual. Preston here, Jim, you'll be thrilled to see, unfortunately, hasn't made his mandatory pit stop within the pit stop window because he got a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds during the end of the pit stop window, perhaps leaving things a little bit too late. And I think we'll be on for a racing penalty at the end of our race. Looks like Dog Eater is actually flirting with another fastest lap here. You can see the green delta at the top of the screen as he comes through. Oh, he's just lost out through clearways from an opportunity by 1/10 of a second to get a new fastest lap, but clearly pushing incredibly hard. I tell you what though, I think he might have been off circuit because Mojo in second is only 2 seconds away from Dog Eater. So unless he's made a new a free pit stop for new tyres and changed this out, this is very, very unexpected to have Dog Eater and Mojo so close to each other so late into this race, while Dog Eater has dominated proceedings. So I wonder if he has come into the pits, changed tyre, and made it so that he can attack for fastest lap. But I'm afraid I don't get the information on my screen as to his plans and his pit stop count. I only know whether he's completed his mandatory pit stop or not. Still mighty close to his fastest and the fastest lap time at this stage as we run into and through Sterling's corner, obviously named after Sterling Moss. Picking up a great apex as well through the corner, just still 1/4 of a second away from his very fastest lap as he crosses the line. Those are some very, very quick lap times. I don't think anybody else is racing in the 24s even. But Mojo not letting him get away too fast. Here is M4 Raider. He's got a stop-go penalty. So that is, I think, track limits. And you get 3 warnings. You get essentially 3 strikes for track limits. And yeah, unfortunately, he's picked up a stop-go. Jim can confirm that for me, I'm sure, because I know Jim has raced here in the Endurance League for ACC. Mojo, P2, only 2.1 seconds away. He is lapping in the 124s, a 124.4. So certainly this isn't all over by the shouting. Unfortunately, though, that probably does mean that he's going to lose some time on this lap, and he goes out wide again. Cold tyres, we saw that earlier on, missing an apex through Westfield and then missing the same apex again through Sheen and running out wide. But thankfully the grass out there is dry today at Brands Hatch, because you run out on the grass in our British racetrack and you're definitely taking your life in your hands in terms of moisture and spinning. Irish Razzie, still can't see his gap, unfortunately, to Larry again. But Irish Razzie in 4th position. What could have been? I think Irish Razzie could have certainly been battling Mojo and Larry today had he not had that lap 1 incident. And the whole field passed him. But what a recovery, back to 4th place here for the number 26. We'll see him as he catches and passes M4 Raider. Presumably M4 Raider heading in towards the pit lane very soon. 4 minutes on the clock here for our Brands Hatch mini British Tour. We go to the equally bumpy, equally difficult Alton Park circuit next up in 2 weeks' time here for Black Flag Racing on the channel. That is going to be a Terrific afternoon of racing for everybody. Here comes Irish Arazi. So, he has still not passed M4 Raider. I think M4 Raider is tempted not to pit soon, and to have an argument with the stewards later on. Runs out onto the dirt and dust of the marbles out there through Druids, Irish Arazi. So I'm guessing he's not going to be catching Larry quickly enough here. Just see him pass Preston, who is currently running in P12 of the 13. They are tiny little race cars, those Alpines. Big beefy Aston Martin comes through and makes the overtake. We still can't see Larry and the gap though, unfortunately. Bobcat goalie running P8 behind Siam here in the GT4 division. Looking for a chance to make the overtake, but being quite tentative about it in P8 here. There's the blue flag given to Siam. So Larry running in third. Looking good here. I think it's a 30-second deficit back to Irish Razzie. There it is, 31.1. So Larry's safe unless he picks up a stop-go. So, and you can see him just being quite distant from the track limits there. This is new catching and passing Chaotica cross category. That battered and bruised Ferrari continues. Here's Ascendancy, Chaotica, running second in class here today. Siam with the lead in class. Here is Haifa Honda, P6 for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Racing in the Corsa Ferrari colours of red, white and green. Just seen Nukrap, and here is Priest then. This is the battle continuing for 6th, 7th. Well, not so much 8th anymore after M4 Raider had to go for that stop-go. So Priest 1.4 seconds away from Haifa Honda, and with damage on the car, it would represent a good finish, I think, for Priest if he can get this position before the end of the race. Just want to check in on our leader, make sure all is well with Dog Eater. Yeah, he's got a gap of 3.9 seconds then to Mojo, with less than a minute to run. So let's cut back, shall we, to Priest and see if Priest can get through and past. He is catching very quickly. Nate's saying seems to be a good race still. Nathan, you are Nate, are you not, Nathan? Have you lost connection with the server? Is that what's happened to your race? I haven't seen you for a while. Here is Priest. And looking for the opportunity down the inside. This is the one battle, competitive battle left on the grid. Round the outside then of Paddock Hill. We'll have to go for the cutback. Or are we going all the way around? We're going to try it all the way around the outside from Priest. Good run down the hill. Oh, there's contact. Off on the grass. I think he's going to... Well, I was going to say he will have to give that up, but he felt he was in the right then in that situation. And he's gone to continue, and I think we'll take that one, take the race to the end then. That's the gap visually on screen between P1 of Dog Eater and Mojo, 4.2 seconds further back. Can they save Preston an extra lap here? Disconnect again for Nathan, unfortunately. I had a disconnection from the practice server just earlier. I couldn't really explain that one. It's a very considerable rarity for me anyway. But here is your race leader, Dog Eater, in the Ford Mustang. Dog Eater then bringing Ford to our Black Flag Racing League and bringing it in real style. Round the outside of Preston we go to complete a fabulous victory here at Brands Hatch. Dog Eater, your winner. Behind him, we just see Mojo crossing the line as well. Just want to make sure, there he is, Mojo in second position. to try and find you, Larry. Forgive the flicking through screens. It's a random choice as to which car I get to see. Larry is a decent gap away from the car behind. I think Larry's going to make it safely through to pick up a fantastic third position here for Larry with the family watching. So just weaving each side of Siam, and he'll cross the line in formation, the 77, taking home third position then, and Siam just behind him with a great finish. Chaotica, where is he? Here he is. Okay, he's in P11. Let's high for Honda. Wow, look at that. A 130-second penalty for Preston for missing his mandatory pit stop window. No Crap comes home in 5th place. That's a good result for the 969 considering where he was earlier on. And Priest securing 7th. Well, he hasn't actually crossed the line yet. He's quit back to the pit lane. So it looks like he's secured 7th, but I didn't see well, there you are. It is secure, and that's great. So confirmation we lost Nate and Camzilla through the course of the race, unfortunately. But Doggy to your winner after 42 laps ahead, 4 seconds only ahead of Mojo and 35 ahead of Larry. Irish Arazi some further 35 seconds back. Then is Nurkrap in 5th, the first of the lapped drivers. Haifa Honda was 2 laps down, and Priest was in 7th place, just behind him. Bobcat Goalie in 8th, M4 Raider in 9th, Not Siam in 10th. We have Chaotica in 11th, and Preston down in 12th with a 130-second penalty on top of that finish. Well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Do all the good stuff if possible. And there are other ways to support the channel. Have a look at all the available buttons as well. And thank you so much for tuning in and enjoying the race today with us. If you've got a favourite moment as you watch it back, drop a timestamp in a comment for me. Thank you so much again. We will catch you next time for Black Flag Racing in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park. But do tune in to my racing and broadcast tomorrow as well. Appreciate everybody for watching with us today. Enjoy a tremendous motorsport weekend with the Monaco Grand Prix and the Indy 500. But from everyone watching, thanks so much, and we will catch you on the next race day.